of correcting your status. One is to prove your life, claim your life, which we've established by documents and private trust documents that are non-grantor, non-indenture style contract form within the court of the ecclesia as a living court, a court of sovereigns who have under a private society that has been noticed and accepted by every level of the world system, is cognized or recognized by that system, because we don't ask permission. We don't need them to send a paper back saying, yeah, we agree, or we give you our permission. We just gave them notice and gave them an opportunity to say, no, you don't have that authority, and they didn't. And so, so our court has standing. It's a court of living beings. And so you come into the court as a member of Pantera, and you do several things. There, you create a foreign trust to move the right, title, and interest of the franchise into that foreign trust. And then you create the beneficiary of that foreign trust, which is an inter vivos trust. Inter vivos means amongst the living. So amongst the living, you step in and you prove your life. You claim it, you embody it, you prove it. You appoint an executor to the office of the estate, or the office of executor, to take control of the estate. You claim the estate per the DTB Act. And then step two is to have the office of the executor move to accept any bona fide claims and liabilities against the estate through the franchise. The franchise is the holder or the debtor holding all the bonded securities against the value of the estate. Same thing as if I own this building or I own a home and I want to encumber it or lien it with a mortgage, then that's a liability, okay, against the value of the real value of the home or the building. So consider the underlying estate, the building, the value, and the secured, bonded, certificated debt in the name of the franchise as the debtor, underwritten by the Social Security account as the liabilities. There can be perfected liabilities that we've already accepted, or contingent claims as contingent liabilities of an offered a contract. So we have to clear the past of any existing liabilities and or pending processes in commerce as claims against the franchise. So that's step number two. Three is rescind and revoke the contract, sever the attachment. Plus take the inter vivos trust and other documents that we've created and notify proper levels of the system that you have been recognized by a living court as having proved and claimed your life, claimed the estate, appointed the executor, and all the rest of that. So that's step number three. And four basically is to collapse the trust. A trust has two forms of ownership. The trustee holds legal title and the beneficiary holds equitable title. That's called a split title. You collapse the trust by merging the title. That's when the settlement of the claims against the estate are completed, and you command the Bureau of Public Debt and the custodian of alien property and the Governor General of Canada, who's a trustee of North America, to basically liquidate the balance of any unseen claims and liabilities, because what we know on the surface, mortgages and credit cards and what have you, is the very tip of the iceberg. We've been bonded and securitized like very deep, okay? But they've been trading all of that, those bonds and securities of the franchise over and over again, creating all this huge amount of off-book fiat currency that's held in various accounts throughout the world that are also being claimed at this time on the macro scale. Remember I said that the DTB Act said that if you claim your estate, prove your life, all the profits and proceeds generated against the estate during the course of when the executor controlled that estate must revert back to the man. Okay, so you collapse the trust and you claim that reversionary interest back to the man, which can go into the foreign trust, the beneficiary of which is you, essentially as a corporation soul, as the inter vivos trust, and everything that we've done with that. So where does enforcement come in? Now I'm going over this very quickly, and you know, I'll fill you in over the next 45 minutes, and then we'll take a dinner break, and then I've been told we have this place till midnight. We can go later if you want. But for those who may be leaving, you know, at the 6 o'clock break, let's cover all this in the nuts and bolts of it. Yeah, we all know they have the guns and all the rest of it. But at this point, in the quantum level, the world is transforming itself at every possible level of our existence. Okay, it is rippling through the quantum of the physical realm, the socio-political realm, and all the rest of it. It is transforming and transmuting into a new reality. At the same time, the old one is holding on tenaciously, and obviously there's a few parties that are not real happy about that, because they were born into a state of being of the elite and told from birth onward, you are the masters of the universe and you're going to inherit and control this world. And they're not real happy about having that pulled out from under them. And quite frankly, I don't give a shit. That's their problem, because ultimately, in the last year and a half, since 2012, December 21st, you know, we didn't go anywhere. It wasn't the end of the world. It was simply the end of a cycle. And in the original construct of what I called the plane of Charon, or that point that they raised up by the rising of the phoenix. And by the way, did anybody watch the 2012 Olympics in London? In the closing ceremonies, they had the phoenix rising up, okay? The reason I told you about the story of On, O-N, as meaning the light, the artificial light, not the light against the dark of the Set Osiris construct, not the light of supposedly the living light. It's all an artificial construct. It's all miasm or maya or illusion, false play across the screens of our minds that we've accepted and so forth. But the reason I told you about On, which of course can be translated as Lucifer and all the rest of that, is, did you notice that Babylon has the word on at the end? Baby, on, L as in, like in French, the article, the on, baby the light. Remember, Akhenaten went east to Babylon, and Mary Taten went west to London, which is La'an Da'an, the light of the light. That's where these names come from. You know, it's all Luciferian, if you will. It's all about the light. It's all about the false construct of light against dark, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, that plane that they would go to in the field, or the plane of Charon, in that pre-programmed construct that they would follow and build in what Manly Palmer Hall called the great work of the ages. I'm sure they've got that over there across the street in the Masonic Temple. They fully expected that they would arrive at the end of time. They would merge the two pillars between the line of Otto the Great and the papacy, meet in Jerusalem, build the throne, and that the vicar of Christ would sit on that throne as the Lord of the world forever and ever, and controlled the bonded, perpetual servitude of the flesh, and just continue forever harvesting everything we've talked about today. I'm not going to go into it today, but suffice to say, in the last 10 years, the game changed. It all collapsed.
Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. So, y'all ready for the big boy stuff? Because that's all what I've been teaching y'all. You know, that's my first time watching that video. Somebody had sent that to me a long time ago. And I was like, I need something to show them tonight. and I just chose that video. So that is proof to me personally that everything that I've been telling y'all is facts and we're on the right track. So are y'all ready for the big boy stuff? Because we've been talking a lot about public and private. We have been distinguishing the different roles as a private individual, right? So now we're going into actually learning how to act in private as a private individual and how we can use different modes to do that. So tonight we'll be talking about one of my favorite, because I always talk about it. You guys should already know. But one of my favorite ways to act in this game, um, which I think is going to be very helpful for all of us. Because when you start recouping, what are you going to do with those funds? What are your plans? Do you even have any plans? Or are you just so happy about how much money you're going to get? These are questions that we should be asking ourselves at this time. Again, I already told you guys from personal experience, I was one of those people who did not ask those questions. So I literally had to rebuild from nothing just for making bad or poor, should I say poor choices, because I did not have a plan with the money that was coming into me. And if you come from an environment of poverty or not being able to get what you want or uh, just surviving and not thriving, where you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, if you're coming from a paycheck to paycheck situation like that, or background as a child like that, then when you get a lot of money, you're going to act a fool. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how old you are. If you've never experienced it or if you don't have a plan, when money touches your hand, your whole mind will change. And I'm a person who is pretty disciplined, and it even did that to me. So, um, I think that it is very important for a person that is going to be teaching y'all this kind of stuff, not only just to teach you how to do it, but also to teach you what to do with what you are going to be getting from acting in this way or from even doing this process. Okay. So the same stuff that I was going to be giving you guys in the workshop, remember the business workshop? The same stuff that I was going to be giving you guys with that, I'm going to be giving you guys just in the study sessions because I feel like it's necessary. So are you guys ready to go into the real big stuff and the big processes that I know you hear a lot of people talking about? These processes are they're going to change your mind about a lot of stuff in a positive way. Once you start to see the wins that you'll be bringing in, it's going to feel a whole lot better as to why you have to build such a sturdy foundation through this journey. It's not just about, you know, you recouping and, that's just the better part of it. But at the beginning, if you don't have the proper foundation for any of that stuff to happen, it doesn't matter what you choose to learn or do, it will not be sustainable. And eventually you'll have to start over. So, let's avoid that. I also wanted to discuss something from the last pop-up meeting that I had for anybody who may have missed it. You guys need to go and check out the replay. It is on Patreon, and it is also posted in the past study sessions course in the Academy. Go check that out. But in that session, I went over some group rules that are in effect as of now, not only in this group, in this community, but also in the private Telegram groups. I also gave you guys some solutions to some of your issues, where it's a lot of people that were facing issues with maybe their account logging in or progressing to the next lesson, even though they were passed. As I said in that last video, that is out of my control. But if you are having or facing those types of issues, you have to reach out to Trainer Central Support. To get that website, you guys got to go watch that replay. It's important for you to watch it because I'm changing the way things are being operated here because the information that I will be sharing now It's not for the weak, and I don't want anybody in this group that's not ready to pretty much fight a war on paper, because that is what you'll be doing from this point out. As a private being, we have to reverse, okay? We have to reverse our mindset. And when I say reverse, I'm talking about it in a positive way, because everything that we've been taught is inverted. This world is inverted. Everything is upside down. So we've been taught everything in the reverse. So what you're afraid of is actually what you should not be afraid of, if that makes sense. But there's a lot of processes that I'm excited to talk to you guys about. I've been pretty distant, but that's on purpose, because I've been cooking up. I've been cooking. So I'm excited about where we're going as far as this information, as far as the process that I've been personally taking, doing myself. I've been over here getting it, man. Like, I'm telling you, life has been really good. You guys are on the right path. I'll also be discussing some issues with the estate EIN, because a lot of people have been hitting me up about that, which I've already told you guys. If you go and watch that replay from the pop-up session that we had, which I advise you go do, I already explained to you guys that the estate EIN takes the longest. I don't know why. I do not work for the IRS. It is weird to me. And even with, this process becoming more popularized, I'm pretty sure that they have been receiving a whole lot more SS4s than they have in the past. And due to that, they are starting to change up some of the processes when it comes to the estate and filling it out. So that is why I will be updating some of the information in the private banking course, because excuse me, because some of the stuff in there has changed. Yeah, so I have to show you guys a different way to fill out for the estate for anybody who has recently filled it out and it's been sent back. They are getting clever. So we have to get more clever on another way. Remember, I told you guys that the IRS will be upset about these changes. They will not be happy about them. This is you taking or removing yourself from their system. So that is pretty much basically taking that jurisdiction off of you, and they don't like that very much. So expect things to change sometimes. But that's why I stay on my P's and Q's, so that I can notice that and figure out another way around it. Because as a sovereign, there are many ways to do something. There is not one uniform cookie cutter way. That's why with this process, there is no A, B, and C, or a list of, you just got to pretty much figure it out that in a way that makes sense to you. All right, so let's get straight into it. Business. Why is the key to winning in this game? This is the master key to winning. Okay, I'm pretty sure most of you guys already know, especially you, Zach. You already know about business, right? Business is a way for you to control without ownership. It's like a entry level into the private world or the private realm if you operate properly. Okay, that's why I said when this information came out to me, it started to make so much sense, because it was already something that I was doing, which was business. All right, so I could understand it on another level. Whereas a lot of people be like, I've been studying this for 10 and 15 years. And I'm like, I don't see how, because it just all clicked to me. But that's also too because I am already pretty well versed when it comes to business. Disclaimer, I am not the creator of this information. I do not own it in any way. I am not an expert that knows it all. I am a student who has a love for knowledge and staying sharp through a lifestyle of study. I have tried and been successful in many of the methods and info that I share with you all. I expect that if you watch this presentation that you will do your due diligence and study the info provided. A sovereign woman or man does not rely on someone else's information alone. To be the god of your reality, you must be willing to seek. The more you know, the more you grow. Knowledge conquers fear. And also have discernment on where you seek information. If you notice that a person changes up their format too much, normally it's because they're hiding something, or it's because they don't really know the information that they're giving you guys. So be very wary of a lot of people that is teaching this information, because as we're going deeper into this process, and as I am going deeper into this process, I'm realizing how literally private it is. It's private. And to find someone that's going to share this private information with you is rare. Okay. So be careful. And that's the reason why I said what stays in this group stays in this group. If a person has not been divinely led to join this group, there is no reason for them to be here. Because I'm aware that this information that we're diving into in this path that we're taking, it is not for everybody. And again, there are always casualties in war, and we're just in. Bottom line is we're in a physical and spiritual war, and we didn't create it. We might have played a part in it, but I have no intentions on trying to save someone who does not want to save themselves. So when it comes to that, I have no I have no parts in trying to stop divine things. That is not my job. So if there is people who are not ready to be in this, who are not divinely led to be taking this journey, I don't even want them in my group. So I definitely will be reiterating that a lot, because I do want to irritate those who don't belong. So I am going to be saying it a lot. So I hope I do get on your nerves if I do. All intentions on that. But let's dive right in. So again, I told you I was going to be discussing the estate EIN concerns. So let me begin by saying that I do not work for the IRS. I'm not associated with the IRS, and I do not know anyone who works for the IRS. That means I do not have any control over the time it takes for the IRS to process the SS4 and issue the EIN. You all must exercise patience. There are many people finding out about this information and doing these processes. Imagine the increase in EIN processing that has taken place since this information has been shared. Of all the EINs, the estate took the longest to be processed and issued. I don't know why, but that is how it was for me personally, and my husband has to redo and rescind his off for the third time. The IRS is getting clever to this process, so this is why we must constantly update this information. They are saying that the name of the estate and the name of the trustee cannot be the same now, but that cannot be true due to me receiving my estate with the name of the estate and my name being the same. That led me to believe that from my own experience, and this is my experience from when I was calling in to get the FGT EINs, when I was calling in on the phone, it depends on the IRS agent who is processing the form, to be honest. Like some of them is just some assholes that just work all day and hate their job. And then you have others that are happy, fresh, new to the game, and just happy to have a job with the IRS. And they just, go with the flow. So it honestly depends on who it is. Okay? Honestly. And that is all a game of chance. So some people will process it a specific way, and others will say, oh, you're missing X, Y, and Z. You need to add this, whatever, whatever. So that has nothing to do with me. This is the main reason why I stopped offering the hire me service for EIN, because this is a strenuous and just annoying ass process. I'm just gonna be real with you. Dealing with this is annoying, especially when you got to call in every day. And I just don't like having people's personal information. That's just not my thing. I'd rather not do that. So, this is something I feel like you should do for yourself. If you can't do it for yourself, then maybe this process is not for you. So that's the reason why I just don't do it anymore. But you have to have patience. All right. Let's see. So keep in mind that there are several factors that play into the delay in processing and issuing the estate EIN. And that is the process of the SS4 is done by individual IRS agents who use their own discretion to complete the process or not. Some agents will send the SS4 form back and request the information on specific lines be corrected or added. Wait times have extended due to increase in SS4 forms received by the IRS. The IRS is also short of staff due to several offices closing down during COVID and never reopening. The IRS agents that are working now are working from home. This is why you cannot predict a specific or definite time period for this process, as many factors may and do play into the time either being sped up or slowed down. So that is out of my hands and out of my control. All right? Out of my hands and out of my control. Just like if you're having or experiencing any issues with Trainer Central, not being able to go to the next lesson, or any type of issues where it comes to technical stuff, I did not create Trainer Central. They're a third-party company that I pay because they allow me to use their space to host my content. They deal with payments. They deal with all of that. None of that stuff is all I do is put the information there, and share it, and y'all sign up with Trainer Central, okay? For my content. You sign up with Trainer Central to view my content, all right? Because it's hosted on their platform. So if you have any issues with your accounts when it comes to technicalities, payments, any of that kind of stuff, you have to reach out to Trainer Central support, and you can get that website either by doing a Google search or by looking at the last video that I did. Was a pop-up session I think I did like 2 or 3 days ago, maybe 4 days ago. Yeah, go check that out. All right, so let's begin. Today we'll explore why embracing the principles of capitalism isn't just a strategy. It's the only way to navigate and succeed in the complex game of life within our corporate-driven world. Imagine, if you will, the iconic Hasbro game Monopoly. Many of us have spent hours around a table strategizing, investing, and sometimes engaging in fierce negotiations to build our empires. Or some of us just simply don't know how to play, and we lose. Or we lose interest in the game because the game can literally go on and on and on if you're playing with somebody who has like really good understanding of it. In Monopoly, every move you make, every property you buy, and every deal you broker is a step towards achieving one goal, and that's financial dominance. Now let's draw a parallel between this beloved board game and the real-world economic system we live in. In Monopoly, success hinges on a few key strategies, which is acquiring assets, managing resources wisely, and constantly seeking opportunities to expand your influence. Similarly, in our capitalistic society, businesses and individuals thrive by creating value, innovating, and capitalizing on market opportunities. Just like in our Monopoly, where every player starts with the same amount of cash but ends up with vastly different outcomes based on their decisions, our economic system rewards those who understand the rules, take calculated risk, and adapt to changing circumstances. So that is what we'll be getting into. Really, like, I ain't going to hold you up with it, but that is what we'll be getting into, all right, in this presentation. We'll be talking about why it's important to be one of those people. And to be honest, you guys are in a really good position because I wish I knew I knew someone who was teaching this information for the amount, because when I was learning a lot of stuff, I was either learning it on my own or I had to pay to play. And the people who teach stuff like this, they charge a pretty penny. I'm talking about thousands. So it was a lot of money that I had to kick out to join workshops and mentorships to get the insider information that I do have. All right. And that's just something that a lot of people keep secret that are a part of those communities. They look down on people who are not in the know or who can't afford to pay to play. So you guys are very fortunate. Imagine a world where everyone decided not to show to work. What do you think would happen to the corporations? And real quick, before I keep going, I want you guys to really sit back and think, what do you think would happen to the corporations if everybody just one day said, guess what, we're not going to work, and everybody actually stood up and actually didn't go to work? Imagine. What would happen? It will be done, right? The corporations will be over in one day. Over. It just will fall. Exactly. No more inflation. Everything will go in instant sales to try to get the people to come out and buy, right? Exactly. However, that would never happen because the system we live under is well planned, and as long as people keep it going, it will continue to exist. Although it may seem like there are many people waking up to this information, it's really not that many people who are in the know. And that's just the reality of it. There are more people who are still happily asleep than there are who are wide awake. Although it may seem like it's a lot of us because we only are, for the most of it, the most of us, we really only talk to people who think like us, which it seems like it's a lot of us because we're on social media, but in real life, it's not. All right, so where does that leave you? Whether you hate your job or just care to work for, or just don't care to work for anyone anymore, you feel obligated to continue working for various reasons. Whatever the reason you choose to participate in a system you see through is your business. However, if you want to win this game, you must be willing to do what seems wrong in the eyes of the society. All right? And what would seem wrong in the eyes of the society would be to, for example, what I personally did was cold turkey, write a resignation letter and quit my job and never look back. That looked like something that was wrong in the eyes of the society. How are you going to pay your bills? You need money to survive. You're going to be homeless. Yet none of that has ever happened. Okay? One thing about, again, and I think I discussed this with you guys before, but one thing about the human brain, its main job is to keep and sustain the life of the human body. So do you think that the human brain will just say, oh, well, you quit your job and just your life's going to go to shit? No, your human brain is going to turn the fuck on if it has been off and taking orders from your boss. It's going to turn on and it's going to tell you what you need to do. It's up to you to listen. At that point, your spirit is going to kick in and your spirit is going to take over if you allow it to. So what do you think is going to happen if you quit your job one day? You think you're going to be homeless? No, people who are homeless want to be homeless. I know this because I know many homeless people. Ashamed to say it in the way that I'm saying it, but it's just the reality. They like it. It is a lifestyle, just like it is a lifestyle for people to, um, work out or travel the world. That's a lifestyle. Literally, there's a lifestyle called vagabond. There's a lifestyle called beggar. There's a lifestyle called peasant. Why do you think there are different class systems? Because there is really a lifestyle of people who like to be poor. Okay, and it's all because it is easier to be poor than it is to have obligations and duties and has to pay bills. It's easier for a person who has literally given up on everything, including themselves, or especially themselves, to not have any responsibility. That's just what it is. I know a lot of people who choose to be homeless. So, whether you hate your job or just don't care to work for anyone anymore, you feel obligated to continue working for various reasons. Whatever the reasons you choose to participate in a system you see through is your business. However, if you want to win this game, you must be willing to do what seems wrong in the eyes of the society. To be free, true freedom requires dedication, patience, perseverance, and knowledge. You must take the time to figure out what you think, or why you think the way you think, why you were programmed, who in your family may have had this same mindset. Where did this come from? Because ultimately, when you're a child, you learn from your parents, if you had parents, or whoever was your legal guardian. So a lot of the thought patterns that you have don't even belong to you. So it's time to start evaluating, why do I eat these foods? Do I actually really like them, or am I doing it because my parents or my guardian did it, or my siblings, or somebody familiar to me? Why do I celebrate holidays? Is it a tradition that everybody in my family did without question? What are these holidays really about? Start looking into the history of these things. This is why I started everyone off with the history, because without history, you cannot know the story. You cannot know the leading up to. That's like watching a movie at the end. And then just like, oh, I know what happened. No, you don't, because you don't know how you led up to that. It's a story. It's a storyline. That's why it's called history, because it is a story that tells you and it allows you to, if you're getting a true story or something close to it, it allows you to interpret the information with your own logical thinking and create whatever makes sense for you in your life. That's why there are many paths, but you have to choose the one that works best for you. All right. Will you allow fear or negative thought patterns to dictate your life? Are you afraid of what friends, family, or peers may think of you? If you're one of those people who still worry about what people think about you, this journey is not for you. That's just the reality. At this point, we should not give a fuck about what people think about us. At this point, you should be pretty used to being called crazy if you are truly supposed to be on this journey. Because from the beginning, we've already been looked at as weirdos. We already thought outside of the box. We already asked the questions that people were afraid to ask. We already said the things that people were afraid to say. So we're used to it at this point. We really don't care. Is this something you really want to do, or are you just following the bandwagon? Are you worried about the challenges that will occur in your life as a result of executing this process? There are many people that are asking about, will this take away their ability to get Social Security and disability and different type of stuff like the military and things like that? We shouldn't be worried about that if we're trying to be private. All of the stuff that I just named is benefits from the government. And that is what we should be wanting to get away from at some point, because that disability check is nowhere near what they took from you. So we shouldn't be so worried about that kind of stuff if we're moving to being private. Okay? No matter what your reason for continuing to live unhappily is, you still can't use that as the true reason for torturing yourself every day. For things to change, you must change them. Working a job or career is optional. There is no real money outside of gold, silver, and other precious metals and gems, yet we don't even have the ability to legally possess those things. Okay, so even when you are adding value to your trust and obtaining gold, you still have to get the gold that is legal to have. Can't just get any kind of gold. So we don't have the true freedom under this jurisdiction, private or public, to truly have the gold that comes directly from the ground, by us just going outside and digging it up or something like that. All right. Working a job or career is an option. It might sound crazy. It might sound like I'm speaking a different language, but it is, because you chose to go to college if you went to college and pursue that career. You chose to apply for positions with that career or for that career. You chose to go to the interview. You chose to do the interview. You chose to sign the contract when they offered you the position, which is an offer letter. You signed that. You said okay to the schedule and the job details and requirements. You said okay to the pay. You performed to get the payment. Everything was done by your consent alone. Same with the job. You apply for the job. You went to the same thing. It's all done by your consent. So it's an option. No one ever died from quitting the job unless they, did something crazy to die or something. That's another story, but I'm just saying, like, literally. So if you don't want to work, you don't have to. You just have to have a plan. You do not need a job or career to make money. If anyone told you that, they're lying. Especially, we're living despite what everybody is saying in the media, on TV, on social media, all that kind of stuff, despite what they're saying, we're living in the best times to be alive right now. It is not the worst time to be alive. The world is not ending. The world will never end. Nature will learn how to adapt and regrow before it ends. So we're not living in a crazy worst time. The things that they say on TV, the paradigm and mental stability that they are grooming the people to have, is also that they can keep you under their control. So they're going to constantly tell you bad things and keep you in a box so that your mind can continue to stay small. And you will not be able to create new things outside of the box they provided for you, which is the mental prison, the cell that you keep yourself in. Okay? You have to take your mind back because they have taken the minds of the people. So once you take your mind back, and you can change your own reality just by learning different, just by thinking different, just by not following the crowd. Okay, and then you can start to see clearly that what's real and what's not. And most of the stuff that they're brainwashing the people with is false. It seems real because that is what you perceive to be real. It is a perception that you have been given. But once you see past that perception by obtaining knowledge, you will realize that it's all fake. And again, only we can save ourselves. So we should stop trying to save other people. Okay? Life is simple. You must first comprehend the rules. There are rules to everything. There are even rules to what is being done to us. The people that are in control currently, who are not supposed to be under control anymore, but they literally have rules that they even have to follow. I know you heard of the saying, every boss has a boss. Literally, there is a supreme boss, the universe, the source, God, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it. That energy is the supreme energy that we are all derived from. So none of us are above that law. This is where they get that saying. No one is above the law. They're not talking about the man-made law. That's why you see people being above that law, including police officers, politicians, famous and rich people, right? But no one is above the universal law. So not even them can go over this law. That's unalienable. It comes from the creator of all, which gives you the ability to be a creator in the flesh. Okay? So take your mind back and create your reality in your life for you. Business. This is the definition according to Oxford Dictionary. A person's regular occupation, profession, or trade. So literally from that definition, that is telling you that people are supposed to have their own regular occupations, professions, or trades. This is where the term mind your business came from. Mind your business was not a terminology to be used as a sarcastic term. That actually meant to mind the business that pays you, whatever that may be. Can't worry about the business that's going on over there because that business does not pay your bills. Okay? And then the Black's Law Dictionary definition of business is that which occupies the time, attention, and labor of men for the purpose of a livelihood or profit. The doing of a single act pertaining to a particular business will not be considered engaging in or carrying on the business, yet a series of such acts would be so considered. All right. Throughout history, business ownership can be found. Even before the creation of paper and coin money, families had their own professions turned into family businesses that they bartered and traded services through. At one point in the United States history, people actually took pride in having their own business. Now, due to the capitalist system we are governed by, we have an easier choice to choose from, and that is becoming an employee. Being able to be employed by someone who actually owns a business seems like less hassle. You don't have to worry about all the back end logistics of running a business. At least that's what they tell you, so you will never cross the line and take the risk of finding out for yourself. Lucky for you guys, I have already did it for you. In reality, owning a business is simple, but only when you have the knowledge to fully operate your business to succeed. If you don't know who you are by now, you may need to self-evaluate. You can only live for you. Why are you allowing others to live for you? Again, if you don't know who you are, you will always be fearful. I can tell you how, but you must be willing to put in the work required. Okay? So no one else can do this for you. Once you have that full comprehension of who you are in this process, it will allow you to see the bigger picture as to why there are so many different processes and levels to this process. Because literally, you're going to be doing this for the rest of your existence here in this time, if you want to really be a private individual. There's no going back. Once you cross a certain level of this process, there is no going back to the regular way. Eventually, you're going to have to follow the energy, or your life is going to get hard. Because the way that you think is not going to align with the way that you're living. Okay? We didn't create the system, but we live in it. And you must come to a conclusion which side you choose to live on, public or private. Publicly means you will forever owe debts. Privately means you will forever create credit. You will either consume or capitalize. The choice is yours. That's all you got. Unfortunately, we live in a realm of duality, which means this or that, up or down, big or small. You only got one option or the other, male or female. You cannot be in between. Okay? You cannot say one day I want to be public and the next day I want to be private. No, you have to learn how to be completely private, but then act publicly. It's a difference than what I just said before. And it might not sound like it, but it is. Okay, because you have to be removed from all liability of everything. So that is you, the living being, being completely private. However, you create entities that you can use to do public things. Okay? And that's still you acting fully private, because those entities are going to do the work for you. You only have the option of becoming a consumer, which is the one with, so you can either be a consumer or a capitalist, right? A capitalist is all the corporations that are currently private, foreign, offshore, outside and under and not under the jurisdiction of the United States corporation. They can do whatever the fuck they want because the United States has no jurisdiction over them, and that is why they do. However, there are systems that govern them, and when you know your rights, you can get them in trouble. But for the most everyday part of it, they don't get in trouble because the masses does not know their rights. Okay? And then you have the consumer part. And the consumer part is everybody that is out here acting publicly that are giving the capitalists what they need to sustain their businesses. Okay? Which is pretty much just energy, because that is what the money, even though it doesn't have a literal physical value in this realm, it does have a spiritual value. And that is your energy. That is why it's called a currency. And that is the energy that these corporations need to stay alive. You have to choose which one you want to be. I don't want to be a consumer because consumers have a lot of liability and their life usually ends really financially fucked up. I want to be a capitalist, and I am a capitalist. And that's only because that's my only other choice. You going to swim with the sharks or you're going to get ate. You got to choose which side you want to be on. Right? Business is the key to success when, again, you have the proper knowledge. When you begin recouping abandoned funds, what are you going to do with all the Federal Reserve notes? What are your plans for the future? Do you plan to invest in any of the funds, or invest any of them of the funds? Excuse me. Are you planning to quit your job? Have you planned your financial future at all? These are the questions that we have to be serious about. You know, all of this seems like a nice, fun process. Oh, we're doing this. Yeah, we're getting this done. We're doing this. We're filing this. We're filing that. But at the end of the day, if you have no goals, what's the point? If you want to win this game, you must first comprehend why business is so vital in our society. Businesses have been able to create solutions to people's problems. In today's world, there are many problems. Just look around. I point out so many problems in a day. That's why I'm able to just come up with so many solutions to help my businesses, because I see the world from a different perspective than the masses, than the consumer. The consumer sees everything as a problem. Oh man, my sink's clogged. Oh, I don't want to call a plumber, but I need something to unclog my sink. And here I am with the Drano. Here you go. I got Drano. It only costs a fraction of what you would pay the plumber, and it still gets your sink unclogged. You see? You got a person that went out to eat with their family and they ate too much. And, oh, my stomach. Oh, I got heartburn. I got indigestion. Oh, my stomach's tearing me up. Here I come with the Pepto-Bismol. Here, take this. It's going to get rid of that nausea, heartburn, indigestion. You know what I'm saying? You have to be the solution to the problem. And there are many problems. Never let nobody tell you that there is an oversaturated market when you see that the problems in that market can never be oversaturated. All right. Before me and my husband decided to go into trucking, so many people was telling us like, nah, you ain't gonna make no money. No, it's saturated, it's oversaturated, it's too many people jumping onto the trucking game. It's not that much money, the rates are shit, blah blah blah. If we would have listened to them, we would have just been saying, oh yeah, we were gonna start a trucking company, but we didn't. Because we had our own mind, first of all, and we already did our market research on the industry, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry, which means that it's never going to go out of style. Because if you look around, you see that there are many problems that the trucking industry makes solutions for. You wouldn't have food, you wouldn't have clothes, you wouldn't have houses, some people, you wouldn't have cars. So many things are shipped through the transportation industry. That helps our society to be what it is. So it's never going to be oversaturated. You just have to jump out with a strategy. You have to jump into these corporations, into these businesses, into these fields with a strategy. And there are strategies that have already been created where you don't have to come up with anything new. You can follow the complete business model of another business that is very successful. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's the problem. And this is why a lot of people have not started their own businesses yet. You are too busy looking at what would I do? That's the first thing. What would I do? And what I do, like what I chose to do or choose to do, would it make me money? And if you looked around and you've seen how many problems there are, how many people there are with these problems for these certain industries to even be successful in billion-dollar, million-dollar, trillion-dollar industries, for that even to be so, there obviously is a lot of people who have these problems. This is why there are so many people who are able to create solutions. So you're going to be one of many successful business owners if you take those risks. Right? What else was I going to say? There's a lot of like misconceptions wrapped around becoming a business owner that I will be debunking. Because as I teach you guys this stuff, because a lot of people have put fear into it, and it is unnecessary fear. It's more so a lack of knowledge. That's more so what it is. And just because you start a business does not mean you have to work in that business. You can start a business that is passive. You can start a business that only requires you to do very little. That is not a service-based business. There are so many industries that will blow your mind that you can get into and make out if you obtain the proper knowledge and if it's something that you really want to do. Again, keep in mind that in 2024, a household needs to have at least 8 streams of income to be happy and comfortable. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck from one income with no savings. So keep that in mind. At some point, you don't want that to be a reality, right? It's really easy to get money. It's really easy to get money. You just have to be genuine. You have to do whatever it is that you do with love from your heart chakra, from your heart space. And you have to mean good and have good intentions. And everything else is going to flow. You just have to make sure that there is no fear in whatever it is that you choose to do. Um, Again, there are a lot of industries. We'll be discussing some of them. Like I said, this is information that I was going to be sharing with the workshop that I was starting. The where I was only going to allow 8 people or 10 people or something like that to join, that I ended up not even doing. But this is the information that I was going to share with them that I decided to share with everyone. Okay, so we'll be discussing different industries, ones you should go into, ones that are dying out, that are not so good, just basically due to technological changes and things of that nature. We'll be talking about more about business credit. We'll be leaning more into uh, personal credit, cleaning that up, age corporations and things of that nature. So that is the big boy stuff. Oh, and there's a lot of processes that I'll be talking to you guys about um to do on a private end, like conditional acceptance and accept for value. They are private processes. So don't let nobody make you think they're not. You have to do those from a private stance. The notices, all of that stuff is private. Okay? So businesses have made life more convenient. They have changed the way we do things. They have created things that connect with people emotionally. They have made people comfortable. Once you can connect with a person emotionally, you can pretty much have them as a supporter for life. So whatever it is that you are doing or offering to people, you have to connect with them on an emotional level. Okay? Because they have to feel like they can connect with you to even want to support you. So everybody here has that ability, I'm sure. Whether it be, there are things that you could be good at, like some people are good at making music, rapping, singing, tattoo artists, any of that kind of stuff, like hairstylists, barbers, that kind of stuff. You can create so much from it. You don't always have to be in service. There are a lot of solutions that you can create. For example, if you are a hairstylist or a barber and you're really good at what you do and you have a nice clientele, create tutorials that you can share with some of your clients who might not afford or might not be able to afford to come to you on a regular basis so that they can keep their hair up. And you can create subscriptions for them to view those videos. And that can help them out. And that would relieve you from always being in service. There are so many ways to make money in today's time. We are living in one of the best times to be alive. Do not be fooled by what you're seeing on TV and media. It's all to keep you in a small, privatized public mental prison. It's privatized because those private companies and corporations are monopolizing off of your ignorance. So it's definitely privatized, but it's public because you're sharing the hive mindset of the masses. And it is a mindset that was given to you, which is this or that choices. You don't really have a choice. You only have the choices that they present to you. Okay? So this is my advice. Quitting your job can be the start of your life. And I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm not in your position. I am not you. I don't know what your obligations and responsibilities are. And I can never tell nobody just to go quit their job without having a plan. You have to have a plan if this is something that you're going to do. So do not hear this advice and be like, oh, I'm quitting my job tomorrow and really do it. That is on you. All right. I ain't telling y'all to quit your job like that. That's unrealistic. I am very realistic. If you're going to quit your job, have a plan first. And I'm talking about a good one. And have at least a backup plan in case that plan doesn't work. And that one has to be good as well. All right. What I did, everybody can't do. I quit my job without a plan, but I was 26. I was me and my husband, he was my boyfriend at the time. We were still together. I just had my oldest daughter, and I was pregnant with my second daughter. And our monthly bills like car insurance, car notes, rent, gas and electric, all of that stuff was only about like $2,000 at the time. And his most of his money that he made from his work pretty much took care of that. So I was able to, I had a little bit of time where I can plan out what I wanted to do after quitting, which made it a lot more easier for me, which I pretty much just relied on something that I was naturally good at and I already had a reputation for, and that was hair. Because I was doing hair since I was 13. And I already had a reputation. People already liked my work, even though I didn't do it like as a serious thing. I just did it to get a couple of dollars every now and again. But I made a business out of it. I created a business out of it. And that was the start of me learning about business from the bottom up with no help, with no advice, just a whole lot of mistakes and trial and error. So that was my entry into becoming an entrepreneur and being in business. So everybody's story is different. I'm not telling you to quit your job. If it is in your heart and it is something that you've been discussing with yourself for a while, and it is like working this job is messing with the quality of your life and your happiness and your mental and physical health, emotional health, um, then you know what you got to do for you. I'm not telling nobody what to do, but this is just advice of what, could be helpful for you if you take it properly. I just think I should have put that out there because some people take advice and just run with it. And I don't want to be the cause of anyone making those stupid decisions. So I hope that, cleared that up. But anyway, jobs and careers, especially careers that aren't a passion, waste your years. You give so much of your time or so much of you to the corporate world and building their legacy that you forget that you have dreams and goals and you need to be building a legacy for yourself. Um, just think about it like this. You worked a job for 20 years. Let's say a guy named Bob worked a job for 20 years and Bob died. He had a really good reputation. Everybody loved him because he was always there for everybody. But when he died, that job, the same day they found out that he wasn't going to make it because he passed away, they put his position available as an open position, or they just disqualified it altogether. And if they did put it up as an open position, when they did say, and this is if they even chose to do this, if the corporation even chose to acknowledge that one of their employees passed away, they just put it in the newsletter. Bob, he was a good employee, and his birth date and end date. Like, do you want that to be your legacy? You worked all your time um working in somebody else's dream, building someone else's dreams and goals so that they can build their legacy while you and yours don't have one. you know? So you just got to start thinking about stuff from a bigger picture. We have been throughout their school system kind of like brainwashed not to think of our future past a certain point. Which I don't think you should look too far into the future because then you can go crazy. But when I say plan your future, I'm talking about like literally have a plan. You don't have to be like, this is my plan 20 years out. No, I mean, if you choose and that's what helps you, that's fine. But if you just out here just winging life, and you have especially if you have children, you owe it to your offspring to build a legacy. You do. If you think you don't, then maybe you shouldn't be a parent, but you owe it to them because they did not ask you to bring them here. And the fact that you brought them here is basically you saying that you want a legacy. So it's time for you to actually build one where it allows them to live the life that you weren't able to live. And each generation will do that for the next. That's how you get a better family line. Also, fear only exists due to lack of knowledge. Just by gaining knowledge of things you don't know, you increase your ability to make better life choices because you will negate any fear that you may have had prior to opening your mind. An open mind is a beautiful mind. It allows you to see every perspective as wide as your perspective can see. Um, a lot of people are so closed-minded today, and it's all based off of what they've been taught and other people's mindsets being displayed to them at a young age. You have to understand that we have three parts of our mind. We have the subconscious, the conscious, and the preconscious. And the preconscious part of the mind is the part of the mind that is like the top part of the iceberg. That's like your thoughts, the voice that you hear in your head. Then you have your conscious, which is like the stuff that you think about, not the thoughts that pop in your head, but the stuff that you actually think about. Like, yeah, when I get off, I'm gonna eat some ice cream later, like stuff like that. And then you have the subconscious, which is the stuff that you don't actually hear, see, feel, or think about. It's just it's stored into your mind. And that stuff is stuff that was programmed from the tender age of newborn to age 7. They are the most crucial years of the human brain life because that is when all the information of the environment and things around you is being computed. So that's why when they say children are like sponges, that is what they mean. This is why children are always like, what's that? What's this? Why this? Do this? They ask a lot of questions when they're between those ages because they are uh, building up their perception of the world they're in. Okay. So this is why they have these school systems start us off in school at such young ages, because that allows them to build up the perspective they want for us to have. And they also understand the mind more than we do because they're teaching us, right? So they understand that there is a subconscious part of the mind, and this is why they do subliminal programming with signs and symbols in the media and ads, you know, in the music, in the movies. It's also that you can be subliminally uh, pretty much like it's like a shock to your subliminal conscious or your subconscious of the subliminal program that they put on you when you were younger. So it can hit you in that emotional spot. And that is when you'll go to McDonald's and grab that Big Mac when you said you were done with eating McDonald's because a commercial came on TV and that commercial hit you in a subliminal spot that you didn't know was there. You see? So we have to take our minds back. And this is so crucial. It is more crucial than even understanding this process because without the mind and control of your own mind, you're not going to be able to understand this process. So that is the first thing that you got to do. And the main controller of the mind is fear. So once you comprehend that and you learn past fear, because there is literally fear is a you're driving down the road and there's something stuck in the road, yet you can go around it. That is what fear is. It's a minor, not a major, a minor setback, a minor rollback. I mean, a roadblock, excuse me, that you can just go around and keep going. Once you get past it, the sky is literally the limit. All right. So this is why I be telling y'all not to be afraid. It is not going to be, it's not going to be conducive to this process. If you are fearful, the main thing fear is going to do is hinder you. Like I said, is a minor, a minor setback. Nothing big. Unless you want it to be big, because if you perceive it to be big, it will be. So, literally, the reality that you are in is controlled by you and only you. So, if you don't like your circumstances, only you are able to change them. Keep that in mind. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and and expecting results from repeating the same process. If I've done something for 14 years, on the 15th year, I'm going to say this doesn't work. But it shouldn't take you that long, right? But for some people, it does. So, perception. Thank you guys for being here with me tonight and lending me your energy, your time, or should I say lending me your energy because it's a currency. Um, just to hear me out. But you must create the life your heart desires. No one else can live your life for you. Only you can. By giving someone else the control over your mind, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions, you give up your will and become a bot, an NPC, which is a non-playable character. That is a background space filler with no purpose but to fulfill the desires of the 1%, who use you as a debt slave to repay their debt and operate and run their various systems to build their empires and legacies, meanwhile neglecting your own. So it's up to you what you want out of this process. It's up to you how far you want to go once you do get to being completely private. Um, everything points back to you. Again, like I always say, I can tell you that everything over and over and over. I can repeat myself until I'm blue in the face. But if it's not something that is for you, meant for you, or even something you're interested in or interested in learning about, it's nothing that I can do to change that. So I appreciate you guys for being here. If you came in late, I was discussing at the beginning the EIN, the estate EIN, and I was also discussing the people that were experiencing issues with their accounts with Trainer Central and how to get that fixed and squared away. If you missed it, then you're just gonna have to catch it on a replay because I'm not saying it again. um, but yeah, like it just, let me see. Theo just said he used the method that I told you guys about for the estate EIN. He got his back in 2 weeks. It worked for him, no issues. Exactly. So different experiences, different strokes, different folks. Like I said, there is no cookie cutter way for this process to be. The information that I share with you guys is my own personal experience for the most part. And then sometimes that don't work no more. Some of the experiences just don't work no more. And we got to find another way around it, like we did for the FOIA request. Thanks to Anthony, you know, and I was a few other people who found out how to navigate to get past that roadblock. But even that still is a hit or miss for some people. So honestly, different strokes for different folks. I'm not a guru that claims to know it all because I do not. I'm a student who loves learning and continue to learn. And I'm divinely guided to help those who seek the help. But there are boundaries that has to be set at some point where I say, I gave you enough and it's time for you to go seek or dig into the information that I already gave you. Because a lot of people just get this information and it just like seems like a whole lot and then they end up not really taking advantage of it like they should, So definitely some responsibility has to fall on you at some point. You'd be surprised at how some people email me with this entitlement as if I'm supposed to bail them out of situations. It's crazy. There's a guy who has been emailing me for weeks about a video that I put on, what's it, TikTok, about how to dismiss a traffic ticket. And he doesn't fully understand it, but when he was emailing me at first, I was helping him and giving him answers and all of that. And eventually it got to a point where now it's becoming harassment because you're emailing me every single day with different questions about things that you don't know. You're not in any of my groups. You have not offered to don't give me a donation for the help that I have offered, and you just expect that I'm supposed to keep answering your questions because you failed to take the information that I gave you and go expand on it. That's not my problem. Now you're on the verge of being blocked. So like it's sad that it gotta be that way, but people will wear you out until you have nothing left. And I'm just not allowing it anymore. I literally just got myself back together. I'm not allowing it. But I appreciate you guys for being here and listening to my little rants and rambles. But we have a couple of events coming up. Like I said, if you missed the pop-up session that I had a few days ago, the replay is available on Patreon and in the study sessions course, paid study session course. So definitely go and check that out. It's some new group rules for the group in general and also for the Telegram group. I will be going through, I know I said I'll do it today, but sometime this week I'm gonna be going through and deleting anybody who doesn't have at least one picture of themselves. It don't have to be a main picture, but it's a picture of yourself in a profile or your name. It don't have to be a first and last name, just a name, not like no crazy stuff, because there's a lot of scams. And sometimes I had to change up the invite code so much because some people who were in the group that might not be in the group anymore, um they might still have it, and I just don't believe in, if you're out the group, you're out. You don't still get to get that little secret privilege. That's a privilege for people who want to be in this group, who donate to the progress of this group, so I'm definitely going to be going through the list and kicking people out who are not doing that. No hard feelings. It's just business. And I just want to keep stuff clean and organized. Make sure the people who deserve to be here are here. And I know little Slither is coming through, trying to be slick and sneaky and stuff like that. There are free tickets for all the events except for value one. There is no free tickets for that one. That information in there is a lot, and the reason why it's pushed out that far is because it's taking me a lot to figure out how I'm even gonna break it down for it to make too much sense. So there is no free tickets for that one. Where can I find the info on how to dismiss a traffic offense? My daughter needs that. She got like 4 first time having her license. Dang. I'm going to be doing a revamp class on that. Excuse me. I have the tickets available. If you're in the Telegram group, look through the pinned messages so you can get the link for that. There should be some free tickets left, so she can learn how to get those. Also, like I said, there's no cookie cutter way. Sometimes stuff works for some people, sometimes it don't work for some people. So just because it worked for me and some other people don't mean it may work for you. I just want to be realistic, because if you don't know how to enforce your rights, then I can't help you. Also, every state has different local rights. So you definitely want to look into what the local rights are for your state. You can't just assume that they're the same for every state. And that's going to help you. Knowing the local rights is going to help you better be able to enforce your rights in case things don't go as you think they are supposed to go for you. This is not a cookie cutter process. This is not a I did X, Y, and Z. No, some judges are bitches and some judges are nice. Some judges just are hell bent on making your life miserable. And they will do everything that they can to make it miserable. You know why? Because those fines and fees and all that stuff that you pay in administrative Article 3 courts, that money goes towards the retirements of those judges. So yeah, they want you to pay that stuff. So yeah, some of them are cool, some of them are not. And sometimes you're going to get an experience that is, and another thing too that I think a lot of people don't even take into consideration is, I believe in karma. I believe in people being in a specific place in their life where some things happen for them and some things don't. And it could be for their protection. So, uh, you know, all of that is a factor that plays into this. Will there be a notification sent by email from them or Train Essential when the private banking course is updated? Sent by who? Oh no, I do that. I'm gonna be doing all of that. I'll send you guys email and all of that, as I always do when I update stuff. I just have to find some time. I have a lot going on right now. That's kind of like pulling me away a little bit. But definitely I'm gonna find some time to get that done sooner than later. I just can't give you a timeline or deadline yet. How do you know what has changed when they change things? People reach out to me and it'll be a lot of them. It won't be like just one or two people or maybe even not even five, but like it'll be a decent amount of people and I'll look into it and sometimes it'll happen for myself. It'll be something that I'm trying to do for myself and it'll work for me and not work for my husband. And it could be me just like trying it over and over and it just don't work no more. So now I gotta go back into the drawing board. And that is me going back into Black's Law Dictionary, reading through the instructions and the paperwork and figuring it out and trying to figure out another way around it. Like I literally be using my brain to figure out another way to get like to bypass certain things when stuff like that do happen. So it's just pretty much like word of mouth. It's not like a bulletin board or nothing like where people like, oh yeah, this process doesn't work no more. No, it's just word of mouth. People just, coming and telling you. And plus, it also has a lot to do with my own personal knowledge. Being as though I had a credit repair business in the past. And with businesses like that, laws and stuff are constantly being amended, updated, stuff like that. So when you're in those kind of businesses, and even this even goes back to when I was doing hair. When you're in those kind of businesses, you have to stay current because things are constantly and ever changing. Processes don't really stay the same for a real long time, depending on how popular a process may become. That is what kind of like lowers um, the validity of that process, if that makes sense. So like if a whole lot of people start jumping on something, it's kind of like killing the power of it. That goes for every business that I was in. It's just like that. It's like this is information they already don't want us to know about. This is information that they already trying to gatekeep from us to make us look crazy about, right? So they have a lot of backup plans for when a lot of people find out stuff. They create like they are like creators of the system, so they can change it at will. Need exclusive access to that land patent course. I got land all of the of the country. They trying to make
Wait a
me
minute,
get
bro. Right, what is
the land patent information is in the um status correction course. You just gotta work your way down to it. Definitely I'll be talking about some more stuff when it comes to property and all that kind of stuff. We just working our way around in a way that makes sense. So, my main thing is to get you guys to fully comprehend business because when you do start recouping, I want you guys to be able to use the funds to build so that you can begin to financially build your empire, and your trust and all that kind of stuff and walk away from like working and things like that. And then we can jump into land patents and all of that stuff as we progress. But you gotta get your finances right before you can really like start worrying about all that kind of stuff. Because even if you get the land and you can't pay taxes and all of that kind of stuff, um, how are you going to maintain it without having the right money? Like you need finances to maintain that land or to make that land something to benefit from, right? So I'm just trying to do stuff in an order that kind of like makes sense for you guys. Um, and if you gotta pay taxes, just pay them. You can get it back. Is the discharge on Gun Road the same as the private banking course in the academy? Is the discharge on Gun Road? My reading. Hold on. Is the discharge on Gun Road the same as? Yeah, it is. It is. It's the same. The difference between the one on Gun Road and the course is that Gun Road is not constantly updated like the course is. So once you buy from Gumroad until there is an advancement, there is no like changes made like it is in the course. Like in the course, you have more support, so just I mean in the academy, excuse me. In the academy you have more support, you have the private Telegram group, you have the meetings, the study sessions, all that kind of stuff that kind of like can help you through the process. Whereas when you buy it off of Gumroad, you just bought it and it's just that. Thank you, Queen. May God continue to bless you. I appreciate that. Much gratitude. But yeah, like also think about putting your land in the trust. Zach, put it in your express trust. I told you how to do that. But yeah, no problem. I appreciate you guys. But yeah, I'm about to get out of here. It's getting a little bit late. And I have a lot of stuff to get to put together for you guys. I can do my bill pay based off the example, or is there more forms needed behind them, like the 56F or C example? You can do it the way it's in there. But like I said, there will be some advancements put in the course, but right now everything that's in there is solid. There are some small little typos and stuff like that, but I'll be mainly just updating stuff to make it more clear or to make it simple, because I'm all about making it more simple. Yes, that's me and bro T talked about. We was trying to figure out if we can put the land in a specific trust to establish a nation. Yeah, you probably can do it. You could probably do it in like a charitable trust. You may be able to do it that way. But you had to make it like you had to make whatever it is on the land. If you're doing it that way, it has to be because you're making a nation. You have to make it like public. That's the only thing when it comes to charitable trust. So I know it's a way around that. I think there is informed missing to advance in lesson 56. 56. Yeah, I'm gonna go through it. I'll look through it and see, because I know there is some small little like small things like that I gotta update, but definitely be making them updates sooner than later. Last question: do we send the bill to PO Box or the trustee? I had no response in PO Box. Then you got it. No trustee. No, none of that indenture trustee stuff or nothing like that. If you didn't get a response from a PO box, that's because you're not going to get a response from a PO box. PO box is not where you would send your mail. When you're doing private processes, you want to send you're not even going to send it to the corporation. You want to send it to the live human CEO, and you want to address it to the corporate headquarters address, never a PO box. You're never going to get a response that way. It's going to go into their EOSCA system, which is a AI computer system where they put their letters in to read put the letters in, and the computer reads the letters. And certain things, they will have it go right into the frivolous department, which means that letter means nothing and to ignore it. Corporations cannot speak. They do not have a voice. So anything that is addressed to a corporation can be ignored and will be if it's something that they don't want to address. So anytime that you're sending stuff like this off, it has to go to a live human at the corporate headquarters address. All right. Other than that, I think that is it. I appreciate you guys again a million times for being here. I hope you guys have an abundant rest of your week. We'll be posting a replay to this of this video tomorrow on Patreon and the Academy. And I think that's about it. If I have any pop-up meetings or anything like that, I'll reach out to you guys and let you guys know. But thank you. Have an abundant rest of your week and a wonderful and amazing night. I appreciate you guys. I'm out.